So since we're talking about the ACIs, then the assessment check-ins, when we're thinking about grading, what would you say is fair to grade? And is that one of the things that you recommend?
We do list the assessment check-ins as something that's fair to grade, with the caveat that it's fair to grade up to the mastery expectation statement that we give in the assessment check-in. So if we say, look at this journal page, most students should be able to do problems 1 and 2. Probably not quite as fair to grade problem 5 because we've said that, at this point, given the instruction, the practice they've had, problems 1 and 2 is a fair expectation. So just looking carefully at that mastery expectation statement and making sure that what you're grading matches that mastery expectation statement. In that every unit has a unit-based unit assessment, and that unit-based unit assessment is fair to grade. We were really careful when we wrote those end of unit assessments to match, make sure that the questions that we wrote, the problems we put on that assessment matched the expectations, like the mastery expectations that were in the unit itself. Like we're not assessing further than what we expect mastery to be by the end of the unit. The assessment lesson at the end of each of those units, there's a unit-based assessment, and then day 2 in the odd numbered units is a open response assessment, and in the even numbered units is a cumulative assessment. And similarly, those cumulative assessments are fair to grade. We were very careful when we wrote those to also pay attention to where we would expect mastery to be based on the instruction and the practice students have had up to that point. So those are the big things that are fair to grade that we consider fair to grade in grades 1 through 6.
Do you think it would be even fair for the parent who is really curious about when they're done teaching the full portion of the standard to share those mastery expectation charts? Or do we have other things, other places that communicate the storyline for families?
So I definitely have had, one of the ways that these mastery expectations things came out of was a reporting conversation with parents and wanting to do just what you said, which was say to parents, this was actually in a district, I can remember when we started to think about these charts, but this was a district that was doing standards-based grading. Mm-hmm. And so if you didn't have the whole standard, the rule was, or the policy was in that district, if you didn't have the whole standard, you couldn't get an A. And so teachers were like, okay, but I have a kid who's doing great on everyday math. They're where they're supposed to be on that standard. I'm fine with not giving them an A. Like they'll get an A by the end of the year, like whatever the rule is. But I need to have a way to communicate with parents what's going on. And so
they're making the progress. They're getting there.
Yeah. So we've had some districts who do standards-based grading who say, well, we're going to say that an A is meeting whatever it is for that quarter on this chart. Mm-hmm. And then we've had other districts that say, nope, an A is going to be when they can count to 100 and not until. And in either case, I think sharing with parents what the progression is, that you as a teacher have a plan, that you have materials that will help you implement that plan, that you have assessments that will help you check in on the implementation of that plan. I think what people want is to know that it's not random and that it's not blind. So whatever your system is, I think those things I see no problem with using the mastery expectations charts in some way or another in communication with parents.